again for another time of just chatting on today. Listen, our topic today, or our subject matter for today, is I want to touch this subject about depression. Okay, so many people around the world today, not just here in Houston, Texas, where I live at, but across the globe are suffering with depression. What is depression? Depression is a low mood that lasts for a long time and affects your everyday life. In its mild depression can mean doesn't stop you uh, from having a normal life, but makes everything harder to do and seems less worthwhile. At the most severe stages of depression, it can be life threatening, and it can also be to the point that it can cause an individual to want to commit suicide or take their own life. Uh, I don't know about you, but in the past uh, of my life, I went through a series of depression, you know, uh, whether it's dealing with, rejection, low self esteem, all those factors can contribute to one suffering depression, because it's like you at the lowest phases of your life, meaning you at the pits. You at a pitfall in your life. You basically, people don't understand the severity of it. You are really on. And so today's topic, I just want to deal with that, because people need to know that depression is real. I thank God, today that I'm not in that place of depression. I know for me what affected me sometime when things in life just so many different ways, and it just seemed like you just going through this and you just going through that and going through this and going through that, and faced with so many challenges, it can be overwhelming that you sink into this thing called depression. Are you hearing me? And so we want to talk about it. We want to talk about it. We want to deal with it. Good morning, family. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to all the listeners on today, all over the world, from Rhema Gospel Radio to my TikTok family, to my Facebook family, to the YouTube family, to all of you guys on today. I'm dealing with depression. That's a subject that we don't like to talk about, but we need to talk about it, because even now, people are fighting depression. Okay, there are different types of depression. One is called seasonal affective depression. This depression that occurs at a particular time of year or during a particular season. All right. It happens at a particular time of the year or a particular season. I know for me, when I'm only talking about me, thank God that I've overcome, well, he's brought me through that stage of depression. That's not my battle. today, and I'm very, very grateful for it, because those times were dark times, and a lot of times people fight depression secretly. You can go to work, you can be smiling, like, woo, everything is okay. But on the inside, you just like, I don't know if I want to be here another day. You understand what I'm saying? And so for me, the seasonal times for me, I lost both of my sisters, my younger sisters. One was in what, 2011, my baby sister, and that was around Christmas time, couple of days before Christmas. Oh my God. And then another time of death and I had to fight some depression, was when my sister under me passed away. And these were both of my younger sisters, and we were very close. They were a great support cheerleader. They'd be like, Londa, 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 and so certain times, uh, I would, for holidays, Christmas, it, even though, your life be seem like it be going good, I would get draw back and get silent and just fall up in this. I really don't want to do anything. It's just not the same. You know what I'm saying? And I know my husband, he would be like, you okay or something, but I didn't want to tell him that I was fighting depression. You understand what I'm saying? I just be like, no, I don't feel like it. I'm not, I'm just gonna, just lay down. You know what I'm saying? But that was a form of depression. And I don't know about you, but it had gotten to the point that I would go to work on through the week. And then when I get home on Fridays, that was like, I didn't want to come back out the house. I didn't want to get out the bed. I didn't want to do nothing. And I would say, I'm not feeling well. Well, it wasn't that I wasn't feeling well. I was depressed. I was suffering depression. And then I would get up and go back to work, like, hey, how y'all doing? And then go back into that moment of depression. You understand what I'm saying? And so those were, and I'm transparent. I thank God I've overcome depression. Some people, they don't like to talk about those things because people can stereotype you to not be functional. Yes, people can still be functional and be depressed. Because I did. I still went to work, smiled, still was active in ministry, smiled, did all of that, right? But underneath, I was still fighting depression. Okay. So I like to talk about my life. Okay. Because it's a reality. It happens. What you see now is not what I was. Okay. But who God is allowing me to be able to come to share these stories, to help somebody else know that you can overcome depression. I never went to therapy, but some people, it may be to the extent that they have to go to therapy. I'm a Christian counselor, I'm certified, board certified, all of that, right? Yes, I am. But guess what? I had to fight depression. Okay. So I want to deal with that. And so one of the types, like I said, is seasonal affective disorder, and that's a depression that actually happens at particular times of the year. And I share with you during the holidays, certain times, that's when the depression will just hit me It would be overwhelming. I didn't want to get out the bed. Sometimes I didn't want to go to work. Okay. If I could have just stayed in my bed and not go out of my house, that's what would have happened. Okay. All right. This thermia is a continuous, this is another form of depression. It's continuous mild depression that lasts for 2 years or more, also called persistent depressive disorder or chronic depression. Right? This particular one here lasts for 2 years or more. And when something chronic is long term. You can fight this thing for a long term. Okay. So we dealing with depression. What is depression? Depression is a low mood that lasts for a long time and it affects your everyday life. Yes, you can be functional and dysfunctional at the same time. Okay. Yes, you can go to work, right? But when you finish, you fall right back into that depression. I don't know about y'all, but for me, I would be at work and I would literally have to go in the restroom and just start crying and get myself back together and go back in the work, back with my students or with my patients and get it together. I would have those moments of depression. I was going there. I'd be like, Lord, I don't want to do this. This is too much. Okay. Depression is real. Okay. Like I say, I thank God that that's not where my state of mind is today. But I have been there and I can actually testify with other people who are fighting depression because they did not, you go into this denial, right? Because you're functional. I was functional. All right. We start denying that. Listen, when you don't want to get out the bed and then even get up and go bathe, you're depressed. Okay. You are depressed. You're not functional. You are dysfunctional. Okay. So we dealing with this on today. Prayer, listen, and therapy. Okay. I didn't go to therapy, but if I would have had to go, I would recommend it because some people be like, no, don't go to counselors. Don't go to this. You don't need a therapy. You're a therapist. You don't need this. Okay. If you're to the point that you want to harm yourself, you're that depressed, and you have to get to the root of the matter. What is causing this depression? Because it is real. Don't let people, because they smile. Let me tell you something. If you look, there have been enormous amount of people that are rich who have killed themselves. You know what they fight? Beauty queens, all of that. And they beautiful. Rich people who got money. But they were fighting depression. Things were tormenting them to the fact that they went and killed themselves. Somebody to talk with, counsel with, had therapy with, they could have walked them through the process of what they were facing at that moment that caused them to go into this dark place in their life. Are you hearing me? I remember me, Dr. Yo, the counselor, the coach, right? When my boys some years ago, they got into some things, all right? And I started blaming myself for what happened. right? And I remember I would ride, it's this bridge that you go across from my place of work. And I would ride across this bridge and I would be telling myself, good morning, family. All right. You want to go? Do you want to live or do you want to die? And I would ride across this bridge because I was so depressed, so heartbroken. Are you hearing me? And I would look and I would literally want to take my car and go over that bridge because I was fighting depression. Listen, I'm not there. Hallelujah. I thank God for where I am, that I can stand today and tell people you can overcome depression, right? I didn't go to counseling, I went to God. But if I needed counseling, listen, hey, if that wouldn't have stopped, I know that I would have had to go sit somewhere and get some counseling. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? I'm just telling you. So, prenatal depression. We just talked about seasonal affective disorder. Dysthymia is one of them. Now we're talking about prenatal depression. All right. We're talking about different phases of depression. Are you hearing me? Because we're masking this depression. People rich, I told you, people beautiful, they got it going on. But somewhere within, something is tormenting their life, that they're in depression, they're in the low place, even at their highest. For me, I was on the radio, on the TV, doing ministry, all of that. You seen me, baby. I was smiling. Are you hearing me? And I was struggling with depression. And it happens. It happens. Don't let nobody fool you. Don't let nobody tell you when you start having all of these different symptoms. Okay? Listen, pay attention. Not wanting to get out the bed, not wanting to do nothing, right? I'm telling you, it's like you just it's like I'm on survival mode. Okay, let's talk about prenatal depression. Depression that occurs during pregnancy. This is sometimes also called antenatal depression. Okay, people, they hormones, things start happening, right? They start feeling overwhelmed being pregnant. All kinds of things start happening on the inside, of the woman's body. They don't. Sometimes it can mess with them mentally, where they don't feel beautiful anymore. Come on, women. You had your nice body, and all of a sudden it's out of order because you're pregnant. But mentally, right, it started messing with the women's mind, that they're not beautiful anymore, that they're too big, or they're too, you don't feel yourself, your hormone, all kinds of things can happen, right? That deals with this depression. Okay, is there, is there, is there. Okay, another thing, uh postnatal depression. All right, prenatal, during pregnancy. Postnatal depression is depression that occurs in the weeks and months after becoming a parent. Postnatal depression is usually diagnosed in a woman, but it can also affect men. Wow. It's diagnosed in a woman, but it can also affect our men. I remember my youngest son, my last son, because I only have two. And so I remember uh, uh even both of my sons, my first son, my oldest son, I gained 75 pounds when I had him. And so afterwards, I didn't drop the baby fat. So you go from being, a good little nice size, and I mean, you love your children, your bundle of joy. I know that was my first child and all of that. But can I tell you something, Millie? After gaining 75 pounds and I didn't lose all of that, my self-esteem was low. I didn't feel like, my husband loved me. And it wasn't that he didn't show love. I'm telling you, the depression, the mental battle that I fought due to the low self-esteem of who I was as a woman. Are you hearing me? After having a baby and still carrying all of that extra, you know, extra luggage on me. Okay, And so there's another season of my life that I was depressed. Let me tell you what I would do. I would go to work, and I worked at the time. I was working in dialysis. Uh, no, the home, not the dialysis, but the assisted living. My youngest son was dialysis, but my oldest son, I was doing assisted living, was an assisted living. And I would go to work. I'd keep on scrubs all the time. With my younger son, I didn't go buy no clothes and none of that. And I love to dress. I got that from my mama, Juanita Houston. Oh, she's a little spiffy little something, honey, baby. I got that from her, baby. You got your purse, you got your bag, you got your shoes, honey. That was Juanita. I'm talking about my mama, baby. Okay. So I inherit that from her. But at that point of depression, that wasn't what I was doing. Okay. It was not. So with my younger son, I was in dialysis, and I would, when I get out of my scrubs, let me tell you why I would like to dress. I would put my hair back in a ponytail, and I would keep on sweatpants and a t-shirt all the time. I would wear bigger clothes, trying to cover up the bigger me. And the bigger me was a depressed me. Now, where I am today, baby, let's say, your girl, baby, let me help you out. Thank God, baby. I love to dress now, baby. Hey. Baby, I'm going to look good. I'm going to represent. I'm going to rip the plus size, okay? Because the beauty is on the inside, right? So sometimes we can compare ourselves, to other outer exterior things, and that can cause depression. Be who you are genuinely and truly, and be confident and who you are and who God has created you to be. I'm just telling you certain stages of depression that I went through, and I'm not the only one. Come on here, because we masking this depression thing. Okay, that's why you're seeing this suicide. Even some of our young people, right? They're going through depression because they looking at at these different stars and they bodies, or they see certain people got some money, rappers and this and that and the other. Then they see all the Beyonce's and all of that with the Cardi B's with the comparing themselves, right? And when they can't keep up with these certain images that they're trying to portray, they end up suicidal, depressed, because they sinking into a dark place of being somebody that they're not, opposed to just being who God has created them to be. That can draw you into depression as well, right? No self-fulfillment, right? No self-confidence. It can put you in a depressed place. It happened. I remember, I'd be glad to talk about me, honey, right? Because there's no slander when you talk about yourself, right? I remember I was like, when I first started doing radio and TV, I'm like, you know what? I ain't fit for this here. Because even as a preacher of the gospel, you got to have a certain, persona. You got to have a certain way you got to talk and preach and this. Even being a public speaker, you got to have a certain way that you got. And baby, that put me in a depressed place, because you get into a place of self-doubt and withdrawals, and you don't want to be out of society. But baby, one day the Lord woke me up to who I'm becoming. And so now I'm not in that place of being depressed or because you become confident of who God created you to be. I know this is helping somebody. We mass depression. It's a lot of people. Listen, they look good on the outside. That's why I told my own story. I look good on the outside, but on the inside, I was battling depression. It is real. Okay? I thank God that he came in, because prayer works. And I still say, talk to a counselor, talk to a therapist. You understand what I'm saying? Talk to somebody. If it gets to that, that severe in your life, right? It's okay to sit down here and say, Doc, you know what? This is what I'm battling with. When these certain things happen, it puts me in a dark place in my life. I don't want to do nothing. That's depression. Suicide. That's things of depression. Okay? Listen, I'm telling you, get some help. Do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. Now, just talked about a few things. All right? What are symptoms of depression? Let's talk about that. What are symptoms of depression? All right. Common symptoms of depression: psychotic symptoms, self-harm and suicide. All right. The risk of isolation. See, I described to you these things. I told you about what I wanted to do. I wanted to take my car, ride it over the bridge. Okay. What else? Isolation. When I come in the house, I didn't want to come back out the house. I came out when I had anxiety. Okay. Depression as a symptom of other mental health problems. Okay. I had constant low mood. You become hopelessness. You become frustrated with yourself. And you feel like you could cry at any moment. I told y'all about those bathroom breaks. I had to go in there and go cry. Yes, me, your girl, Dr. Yo. The unmuzzled coach. Yes, I was muzzled up in depression. I was restrained in a depressed place. Okay? That's why I love the freedom that God has for my life right now. We overcome us. Hello. The Bible says we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us or me, right? So let me tell you something. I'm never going to leave God out of it because God saved me from the depression, okay? So what I can tell you today, God first, and if you need extra help, therapy, it's okay. Don't let nobody tell you because you go sit down with a counselor or that's stupid. No, it's not. If it's going to save your life and help you build your mental state back to the capacity that it needs to be so that you can be functional, that's what you want to do. Are you hearing me? All right. Some other common signs and symptoms of depression, they include, let me tell you how you might feel: down, upset, and tearful. Down in your spirit. You're not motivated. You're not motivated. It's like you're not driven. Have you ever been to a place that you had so much zeal, so much fire, you excited about something, and then some stuff overwhelmingly out of your control hits you? Are you hearing me? And then you all of a sudden do what? Start feeling down, start feeling depressed, always crying. Nobody did anything. You just crying. I used to just find myself just sitting sometimes and I just be crying. Just crying. Crying. Did I get myself back together? Start smiling. Come on here. Restlessness, agitated, irritable. Okay? Guilty. I told you I felt guilty. Then you start feeling worthless. Then you start down in yourself. Come on here. You start feeling worthless, guilty. You start downing on yourself. Then you become empty and numb. So it's like you get to a point that you just empty. You just disconnect with reality. Disconnect with life. You disconnect yourself. Are you hearing me? You become numb. You lose feeling. That's a bad place to be. When you're empty, you feel empty on the inside, you become numb and you disconnect. Listen, all right? Isolated. I told you that, and unable to relate to other people. Then you start isolating yourself from people. I know I had to go to work. I know I had to function. You understand what I'm saying? But in my personal life, I didn't want to deal with people. It wasn't their fault. I was the one fighting depression. So you start withdrawing yourself from the realities of life, people, places. You start, you withdraw. This is real, people. Finding no pleasure in life or things you usually enjoy. I love ministry. I love the community. I withdrew myself from that for a period of time. I didn't want to do none of it. I didn't want to do the community, which I love, passion. I didn't want to do ministry. Didn't want to do none of it. Because I was fighting a depression. I was in a state of depression. So I felt empty. If you feel empty, how can you give in ministry? How can you give in the community if you're empty yourself? Then you become numb. So that person that I was, well, I love ministry. I love caring. I just became numb. And I went into an isolated place. And it happens. It happens. Something else. A sense of unreality. No self-confidence or self-esteem. I told y'all, I got to a point that what? I didn't think I could do, I didn't have confidence in who I am, who God created me to be. I didn't have confidence in the purpose that God gave me to be a voice, to be a blessing, to be an encourager, to be a person of impact where lives are changed. Right? I withdrew myself. Me! I withdrew myself from all of that. Why? Because I was fighting the depression. I didn't be able to do those things. Who am I talking to? That you are in a dark place right now. You're fighting depression. Yes, when you go out, you smile for the camera. I get it. But what I'm going to tell you today is take that mask off and deal with it. Right? That underlining secret that you have in your life, because it can destroy your life. And I am grateful to God today that I can stand and declare that He is real, that I did not take my own life. We don't want to talk about that because we don't want people to judge who we are. That's not who we are. There was a dark place. I told you I lost my sisters. We were close, right? And even in my marriage, I went through a depression because I grew up without my father. Okay, we have a good relationship. So I was depressed. I felt rejected in that. Right? So that was another place of depression that my husband had to deal with, my shutting out, isolate, even from him. So I had to pray. I had to read things. Are you hearing me? That would help me be able to deal with those things. And kudos. I will never forget this. When I went to go for to be a board certified Christian counselor, I will never forget this. I call her the mother of counseling. Oh my God, Dr. Alice Millsap. I will never forget this. We were going through, we had to do those different scenarios and stuff, our practice stuff with counseling and things like that, and partner off and do real life counseling, right? And I will never forget, we were there and we were dealing with some different subject matters in counseling. And if I tell you, when baby, we thought, let me say me. I thought I was going to get this other notch on my belt counselor, because I have a doctorate in Christian counseling, but I was going to get that extra stuff, right? So I'm going on in there and finding therapeutic 8 weeks that we had, that God broke some things in my life. And I realized that I was still fighting those depressive, those symptoms, all of that. But through that time of that class, I guess that was my therapy. Shout out to the mother of counseling, Dr. Alice Mills Sapp, because that was the best 8 weeks that could have ever happened to me. And that was the time I was able to talk about things that was so deeply rooted, and able to talk about things that were isolated and all those things. I'm paying money to go to class to become board certified. But honey, the thing switched where I got the help that I needed. So it was therapeutic for me. That's why I can tell people it's okay, hear me and hear me well, to go get some counseling. Counselors are needed. Along with prayer. And she prayed. She prayed and she counseled. They go hand in hand. Okay? I just thought I'd throw that out there. Oh, the day is a good day. The day is a good day. This is some good stuff, y'all. Listen, people can have hopelessness, be despairing. I told you, suicidal, all of that. All right. How might you behave? I told you. Avoiding social events and activities you usually enjoy. The things that I enjoyed: ministry, being active in community. For a while, didn't want to do it. Didn't want to do it. Didn't want to do it. Right? Why? Didn't feel worthy. Was in a low place. How can I help somebody or anybody? How can you help somebody or anybody when you're in a low place yourself? Listen, go get healed so you can be effective. I did. We have to go get healed so we can be effective. Yes, we can be functional and dysfunctional at the same time. We can function enough to get things done, but different. And I be crying, or sometimes I would just go sit in my car on my break and be out there crying, and then go back in there and do what I needed to do. Just sporadic times of what? Crying. All right. Self-harm and suicidal behavior, difficulty speaking, thinking clearly, or making decisions, losing interest in sex. Lord have mercy. I told you, I've been married going on 36 years this year. And I'm almost sure, I can only imagine when I went through that phase, what Mr. Sherman was feeling. He probably thought, now she don't want to be with me. She got trying to be with somebody else. Hello. And I couldn't tell my husband I was fighting depression, Because I want to be the strong woman, strong black woman. Come on here. Y'all want to be strong. You around here secretly fighting depression. Come on here. You listen, you playing Russian roulette with your own life. Get some help. Or talk to somebody, even it could be at your church, your pastor, counselor, somebody you feel comfortable enough to open up with. Hello, somebody, and talk about those things. It can save your life, and they pray with you, right? Hello. And I thank God for the pastors and leaders and Christian counselors who are out there who take this very, very serious when it comes to the lives of the people who confide in them. Because if you got a diarrhea of the mouth counselor or leader, it's damaging. So I thank God for creating safe havens. I have a mentor. I have my pastor and first lady, my spiritual parents that I can go to if I need to cry and get it out, not wear them out, but say this is where I am and I feel safe. You got to have safe spaces that you can be in, right? When I went through that the first time, I isolated, I drew back, I withdrew. That's not a good thing to do. You got to be in a place that you have, and I have other people in my life that are counselors and things like that. We're colleagues, but when it comes to the confidentiality of things, they step up to the plate to be counselors. So I'm telling you, this is real. It is real, and we have to deal with it. So this suicidal rate can go down. It's not just getting young people, it's getting old people. It's getting middle-aged people. It's tapping men, women, children. It's tapping everywhere. And we have to bring awareness to this depression. I'm serious, because it is real. Okay? Another thing, like I say, losing interest. I have to laugh on them because I'm pretty sure, I know Mr. Sherman, glad we over that phase there, depression. And I had to tell my husband later on, that I did struggle with depression, because he didn't understand at the time all the isolation and all those things. He didn't understand all that. He did. Because I wasn't telling him I was depressed. I was still trying to be a functional wife, mother, go to work, ministry. I was trying to do all that. Then finally, he was like, I said, I don't want to do none of that. I don't want to do no ministry and all that old kind. I don't want to do none of that. And he's looking like, you don't want to do, because I'm passionate about that. Community, no, I don't want to do none of that right now. But I was fighting depression. Yeah, girl. All right. You feel tired all the time. That was a big one. I told you that, baby, I stay in the bed, sometimes wouldn't eat, just get up, go to the bathroom, go back in the bed. My husband be like, you want something? I'll be like, no, I'm good. He be like, well, did you eat? And I'm like, no, but I'm tired and I ain't feeling good. Child, I was depressed. I had all kinds of excuses going on. And then I had to face the reality of what was depressing me. Because losing my sisters was a big hit for me. So I had to start thinking about all the good memories that we shared. And instead of looking at they're gone, I started cherishing the memories that we had. And then things that went on with my sons, I had to quit blaming myself and say, our children are grown, they make choices, we keep praying for them, we don't give up on them, you know, and I had to come to grips with that. And another thing, I felt like I was behind, so behind in ministry and doing things for God. And, I wasn't on a caliber of whatever you call of calibers. And I had to realize God created us all differently. So therefore, we're going to do things differently. Your path is not my path. My path is not your path. But what counts is that whatever path God has us positioned on and directing us to do what it is that He's called us to do in our purpose, we should be thankful that He chose us for a purpose and be found doing it. And that way there's no comparison. That's why you see me, I'm honestly, I'm uplifting people. I'm telling my students, I'm telling colleagues, I'm telling people that I labor with in ministry or in the community, look, you're doing a great job. You listen, you rock. You know what I'm saying? You the bomb. Okay, like the kids say, bomb diggity. You got it going on, honey. You got swag in your purpose and what you're doing, right? We gotta build each other up. We listen. So up and tell them, look, you got it going on. You never know what triggers depression, low self-esteem in that individual, because different things set off depression, right? I told you of multiple things that happened that were triggered, but I'm not in that place. And I think I can honestly say that God did a marvelous work. He's a miracle worker. He is. He is. The same thing that God did for me to help me overcome and get through the struggles of depression so that I can be what? Effective and what He's called me to do, whether it's in my secular job or whether it's in the life of community and ministry, right? Now I'm functional, not functional / dysfunctional. No, I am focused and I am functional, right? I'm no longer in that category of functional / dysfunction, because with God's help, and like I say, that Dr. Millsap with that counselor class, honey, I thought I'm paying to go get board certified. But the Lord had another plan. He gave me some therapy and therapeutic things that happen within that. And I'm telling you, God is real. He really is. All right. He really is. It's so much meat to uh dealing with depression. Uh it's so much. It's so much. And I'm not gonna stop talking about this subject, depression. I'm probably gonna do a part two of it because it's so much meat to it. It's so much meat to it. People are battling depression and battling these things, and listen, it's a meat to this here, right? Because we want healing. Hey, family, how y'all doing? Thank y'all for tuning in with your girl on today, Breaking the Chains radio broadcast over here at Forever Rhema Gospel Radio. We are building legacies. We are changing lives. Okay, listen. Don't be an influencer. Be someone that's impactful. Influence mean you want to influence people to follow you. No, be impactful because you are a game changer, right? You are impacting lives for what? Change. And that's what it's all about. Listen, all the purpose that we have that God has given us so graciously. Are you hearing me? It is to impact lives for change. I don't know about you, but I'm thankful. I am thankful. So, Father, I thank you for today. I thank